I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this done in time. I sure wish that the quality and focus of this channel had drastically increased since the last time I did one of these vlogs. I mean, I hope that there's somebody here who could help me. Did I hear somebody call for help? Who are you? Oh, I'm Pig, the thing that lives under your bed. Been here for a while now, actually. Oh, okay. Do you want to help? I'm doing a cosplay. Maybe I could help. What exactly do you need me to do? Okay, how are you with fire? Fire? Do I look like I like fire? I'm very flammable, you know. How about needles? Needles? Well, I suppose I've seen my fair share of them, so that's not a problem. Okay, how about dyeing? Lady, what kind of hobby do you have? No. D-Y-E, dye. Oh, well, I guess that's not too bad. Maybe I could lend a little bit of a hand here. But it comes with a price. I suppose some help is better than nothing. What's the worst that can happen? Hi guys, it's Molly from Moth in the Studio, and apparently this is what my life is now. Could be worse. It's been a while since the first vlog I made where I did the bodice and the skirt, and maybe another couple of things. I'm forgetting. This project has been a long while, so who knows what exactly I did. So this is going to be the last video in the series where I do the wig and the rest of the accessories for the costume. It's gonna be a lot of footage, I think. I think there's actually more in this than there was for the entirety of the dress, so that's pretty crazy. But I did try to get a bit more footage than I did last time. Overall, I've just been focused on being a better content creator, so I hope that that reflects maybe in the final version of this vlog. So if there is a downgrade in quality throughout the video, I do apologize, but a lot of this stuff was recorded as far back as January, so there's a lot that I've learned since then. But we're gonna try to continue to bring it back to here, to present day, so that I can tell you a little bit more about what I did in depth, so you get the most out of this video. But yeah, without any other questions, comments, or concerns, I think we should get right to where I started off with the wig. Yeah, with the wig. Let's go check out the wig. I'm gonna be honest, I was so afraid to start this wig because I had never done wig styling before, and from everything I'd seen and heard, it was totally out of my wheelhouse. But I couldn't just buy a wig like this online and call it a day, so I dove in wig cap first. I started with pinning in the purple wefts, but a quick look at the footage showed that the purple I got was so light against the pink that it looked gray. And it wasn't much better in person, so I had two options. Either buy more wefts from Arda and wait 2 to 3 more weeks, or just dye them the right color myself. I am an impatient lady, so I did the latter, even though I've never done anything like it before. I think I got very lucky with the end result, though. Shay, that hair color looks pretty familiar. Unfortunately, dyeing wig hair causes it to tangle, so it was time for a lot of brushing before I could finally go back and attempt to pin in the wefts for the second time. Continually looking at the concept art to make sure I was placing it right. The hair was easily sewn in with some embroidery thread, and that was the easy part of the wig done. Now it was time to add some volume, because if you look at this wig as is, it is not capable of producing the fluffy anime braids I need for this look. But with the not-so-quick process of crimping the wig, I could brush it out into the most rad glam rock mouse hairstyle ever. But no, the floof must be tamed, so into a braid it went, secured with a bunch of clear hair ties. Through watching so many tutorials, I found out about pigtail or braid shields, which are pieces of tulle that match the color of your wig that can be slid on over the braid to prevent the hair from getting tangled while you're walking around a convention all day. It also helped to connect the two braids together in the back because I could just secure them together with thread. The way I went about the shields was kind of a combination of methods I'd seen, and I don't know that I quite did it right, but it looks decent and you can't tell from far away, especially with all the accessories. Speaking of which, there's a lot to make. Can we just talk about the number of accessories that are going into this wig? Like, seriously. We've got a tiara, got horns, booby, some heart pendants, and a bunch of flowers. Like, an insane amount of flowers. The flowers were probably the most painful, so I decided that instead of buying a ton of gold flowers online that didn't look at all similar to the art, I decided to make them out of satin ribbon. You make satin ribbon flowers by folding the ribbon in half, clipping the corner, and burning the edges to seal them together, then burning the other ends together to create the petal shape. I made 22 flowers, each with around 5 to 6 petals each, with a grand total of 120 flower petals. If you wanted to know how dedicated I was to this cosplay, that's how many times I burnt my fingers. The inside pieces were also pieces of ribbon hot glued together and the petals attached to the bottom. I hand sewed on each flower to the tulle shields because I wanted to make sure they stayed on secure. Another trick I saw was the process of sewing in the tulle to define the braid. Again, I don't think I did this quite right, but I still think from a distance it reads pretty well. For the heart ahoge on top, I followed this real tutorial on YouTube, although again, I didn't do it quite right. The base was connected to the wig from the start because I thought it needed to be that way, and when I attached the top of the heart, it didn't want to stay up. So I had to add a wire structure to the inside and cover it up with more hair. The mistake will be covered by the tiara, at least. I finished up the styling by framing the strands of hair around the face with tacky glue before moving on to the rest of the headpiece. I mostly used EVA foam because it would be super lightweight on my head, but opted for a copious amount of crystals to add sufficient bling to the tiara. Alright, I'm not actually going to show you the process of me putting on these crystals because it was such a hard thing to do and it's so tedious, and they want to stick to the tweezers that I'm using to put them on, because I have to put them on individually. But this is what it looks like so far. You can see where I've already gotten it done on that side. These are all placed on with gem tack and just kind of very tediously applying them pretty much individually. But yeah, it's been really kind of a little bit difficult making the tiara, but I do love how it looks and I think it's going to be really pretty. Like, yeah. I'm very happy with it, and I can't wait to show you what it looks like with the horns. Ah yes, the horns. Also made out of EVA foam, but a little trickier as these shapes that I cut out and sandwiched together with hot glue would have to be dremeled down to the best of my ability. When that didn't get it to be as smooth as I'd like, I sanded it and finally just resorted to covering the cracks with foam clay. I covered it up with some more of that gold trim from the skirt and attached these beautiful pendants to the sides, but this headpiece was missing one more important element. Alright, it's time to start sculpting the little demon that's on her tiara. His name is Booby, but if I said that I'm going to start making Booby, that's going to make you all make fun of me. Well, we are going to make him out of modeling foam. It's super soft and squishy. It's kind of like a marshmallow texture, but it dries like foam. It's, you know, it's air dry, it's easy to use. It'll be perfect for a small project like this. It'll also make sure that it's lightweight because I need this headpiece to be as light as possible. So this is, I think, the best way to do that. This foam clay was pretty sticky to work with. I think it was old, but I still managed to get a Hollow Knight looking head and a turkey body out of this sculpt. After letting him sit for a day, I painted him with some acrylics, trying my best to create an alright gradient and capture his adorable likeness. Then I could just glue him to the tiara and the headpiece was done. Oh, I also forgot, I sewed and glued on 2 bells on the sides. I didn't realize it until it was too late that they weren't supposed to be gold, but I still think it fits. Moving down, the necklace was super easy in comparison. So for the necklace, I basically just decided to layer a bunch of trims that I had. Yeah, I mean, essentially this is part of the applique that's been sewn together with 2 rows of the heart trim and then more of that pearl trim on top of it. And then I'm just gonna continue kind of layering things until I get something that I'm happy with. I sacrificed the first version of the bodice that I messed up to make the little bow, and I sewed on some really pretty sparkly beads that I picked up from Michael's. A clasp was added and it was done. I like my new outfit. It's pretty. I'm actually gonna need that. Mine. Okay, I'm gonna be completely on the level with you guys, and I actually made the first glove back in January. This was one of the first things that I made for this cosplay because I knew it was going to be the most difficult thing. Because the sleeves, they don't make sense. This floating bit was really difficult to pattern. I tried to find any kind of a tutorial on it, and I couldn't find any other cosplayer that did this. At least from the terms that I was looking up. If anybody knows like what specific type of glove this is, if anybody else has done it, please let me know, because I could not find this. And so I had to improvise my own little structure inside of this. And now the problem is I have to make the recorded version of this. And I can't remember exactly how I did this. I can look at my work in here and try to figure it out from there. I did lose one of my pattern pieces. I lost the top bit for this. I can't find it anywhere, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. But I do have the cup part of this. I think I can kind of understand how I did it, but at the same time I'm like, why didn't I just make these 2 pieces together like a glove set? We're gonna just work it out and hopefully make something that looks like it matches the other glove. Okay, so this is the puff sleeve. Basically, this under part here has to be stitched together. This is the lining and this is the outer layer in here. Then I believe they get gathered. This is, yeah. Want to do a gathering stitch on here to bring it together like a puff sleeve. But then this up here just kind of gets stitched on normally. This is all going to make sense eventually, I promise. Using the turkey hand method for creating a glove pattern, I cut the pieces out of white stretch satin. I cut out the thumb on one side to attempt a tailored glove and prepared to sew it to the new thumb section. After watching Sarah Spaceman's videos, I decided to add gussets in between the fingers for added comfort and cause, you know, it's satin, so it doesn't have a lot of give to it, and prepared to sew this monstrosity. The fingers are seriously the worst to sew out of everything because it's such delicate work and it still required hand sewing for cleanup later. Once that was done though, I could gather the puff sleeve, sew up the sides, and turn it right side out. Okay, it's all starting to come back to me now. So, after all of that, you can see where I actually started to pin the inside of this together. So, if you wanted to follow along, you want the lower glove on the outside and the cup on the inside. And I'm going to show you how we actually put structure into this. I'm a dummy. Actually, we have to put the wire structure in this first before this is pinned together, because I looked at it again and I hand sewed this section together originally with the wire already in it. So we have to do that first. I measured and created a rough shape for the wire structure, making sure it was sturdy enough before slipping it between the layers of the lining and outer fabric, and pinning it in place. Securing the wire all around by hand sewing it. Then I could create the spiky bits on top, which was just 2 layers of satin and a layer of buckram interfacing sandwiched and flatlined together. I started adding a bit of the gold trim before finally sewing the spiky piece on by hand, completing the base structure. But this thing would require a lot more embellishment. I honestly can't believe that this is the last bit of sewing that I have to do for this cosplay. I've been working on this for 6 months now, and it feels like it hasn't been any time at all. And I guess it's fitting that I'm ending with the same part that I started on. Like, obviously, you guys didn't see that, but I did start by making the other glove first, and I'm ending it by making the other one. It's kind of always weird getting to the end of the journey with any cosplay, because it means that you're done. Like, that's just over. And now you just get to wear it, and I'm very excited to wear this cosplay in August. But it's still just so surreal, and the journey has been a lot, but I'm so happy. And, you know, just because this project's ending doesn't mean that there won't be others. I have a Ren Fair to go to still this year, so I'll need to make something probably for that. So maybe you'll get to see what that thing is. And now a montage of all the detail work in the glove. And this is what the finished glove looks like. I didn't feel like I gave you a good enough look in the video itself, so here it is. The inside's a little bit messy, but for any of you cosplayers out there that maybe want to try to make something like this is what the inside looks like, so maybe that can help give you a little bit more of an idea of how the structure works. And it just goes on like that. Pretty cool. The wings were pretty simple. I freehanded a pattern on paper and traced it out on EVA foam. I took those pieces outside for some sun, as well as some priming and painting with pink spray paint. I wanted to try some strapless wings since I'm wearing a structured bodice, so I twisted some thicker wire into the right length and hot glued it on, strategically covering it up with the white foam pieces that accent the insides of the wings. So the way that the wings are supposed to work is that basically this bit is just kind of shoved down the back of the bodice, so that way it adds sort of a stability, and in theory they should just sit on my back and just kind of float a little bit when I walk. And they're not super heavy, so I mean, that's a plus. They're not the most detailed part of this cosplay, but I realized that they weren't going to be very visible anyway, so I just kind of did the best that I could with them to match with the art, and I think they're pretty fun. Alright, we're in the home stretch now. The tail is just a heart shape I cut out of pink satin with some interfacing inside to keep its shape. I then made a long tube with wire in it for the length of the tail that was then attached to the heart with some more hand sewing. I later decided to go in and add gold trim to it because it didn't look as polished as I'd like, but I like it with the gold. The tail was attached to the back bow to make it a bit more convenient for me as well. The final step was gradient dyeing half of the tights. In the original art, Mouse has a stocking on one side and a gradient on the other. I thought about making my own out of power mesh, but given my inexperience in the area, the lack of a fabric store, and the convention rapidly approaching, I decided to just do the pink gradient and see how it would turn out. This was a little bit more stressful than the wig because I would have to gradually add in the leg bit by bit to attempt a decent gradient. I also did a dumb thing here by completely forgetting to wear rubber gloves while dip dyeing the tights. My hands never touched the vat, but I was definitely not playing it safe here, and you should always wear the proper protective gear for this type of thing. After a thorough washing, I hung up the tights to dry overnight and eagerly awaited my first chance to try on the whole costume for the first time. So, if you know who Ironmouse is, you know she has a lot of models, so why did I choose this one specifically? The birthday concert was one of my first introductions to Ironmouse during a time in my life when I was at a really low point. My world had been broken apart by words of someone else, and it made me question who I was and whether I was worth anything at all. Listening to Mouse's music brought me a little bit of joy I needed to keep going. And watching her has inspired me to keep pursuing my dreams even if they seem impossible or even hopeless at the moment. I pour my heart and soul into everything I create, not because I want to be the best, but because I get to express myself and maybe bring joy to others if I can. I struggled a lot with self-doubt and worry during the last 6.5 months of this project, but in this moment, I just wanted to be a pretty princess. God. I can't believe it. It looks so pretty. It's so pretty. You don't have to go so slow. Thank you to everyone who has supported me during the making of this. Y'all know I put in countless hours and long nights into creating this cosplay, editing videos, and maintaining the channel. So if you've had to deal with my insanity over the past few months, just know I'm thankful for you. Also, I'll be competing in this cosplay at Gen Con 2025, so if you're there, feel free to say hi. The contest will also be streamed live on Twitch on Gen Con's main stage, so any well wishes during the performance are appreciated. It's gonna be a jam.
Alright, you finished the shiny. Now I want my reward.
Okay, what exactly is it that you want?
I want half the gold you make from this video.
Oh, this video isn't monetized.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, no, I'm not in the YouTube Partner Program yet, so I'm just doing this because I want to.
You are such a waste of my time, lady.
But maybe one day I can. If you would like to help me reach the YouTube Partner Program someday, then the best thing you can do is like this video, subscribe, and maybe share it to friends or people who like cosplay or Ironmouse, or I don't know, just people who spend a lot of time with weird puppets. Whatever the case, I really appreciate you watching this video because it helps my channel to grow. And with a lot of new friends and new journeys ahead, I'm sure it's going to be quite the wild ride. But you already know the drill around here. If you want to follow me on social medias, they're all linked below, so if you want to check them out, they're right down there. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, maybe check those out too. I put a lot of work into them. But without any further ado, until next time. Made my honey say,